It's time for Q&A in the Kitchen. It's a podcast and YouTube series where tattoo artists and a piercer talk about some of the more common questions that those who collect tattoos and piercings and those that do them may have. Brought to you in part by the fabulous Skin Kitchen Tattoo and the Axiom Body Piercing Studio.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. What we're going to talk about today is how long does tattoo and piercing projects really take? But before we get into that, let's tell you who's here. All the way over there, beyond arm's length, is Jimmy St. John, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. Right here next to me, within the arm's length, is Jack Lowe, tattoo artist and owner of the Skin Kitchen Tattoo. I'm DaVo, body piercer and owner of the Axiom Body Piercing Studio. And then over here is Brent, Starr, tattoo artist at the Skin Kitchen. So what generally it's kind of trying to figure out what people's expectations should be and kind of letting them know what that commitment's going to be, because I think a lot of people have this misconception that I'm going to come in and I'm going to get my entire chest done in one session for 4 hours.
It's really crazy how these young people don't even have a second of doubt or thinking they're not going to be able to do these huge projects, and normally they can, which is great, but I think a number of them don't really understand the time it takes to get a gigantic, a full leg or a back piece or a full shirt, whatever it is. There is a lot of hours involved in that. There's some of these pictures you come across on Instagram or whatever, these people getting these, back pieces or these huge fronts or whatever it is in like one sitting, over 3-4 days in a row. And that's been done for a long time, but not as common as it seems when you're digging around, on Instagram or whatever, looking at tattoos. So I think when, those images come so common, you're like, oh, that looks cool, I want that. And there's not a thought of the commitment that goes into converting your skin into something like that, and all the time and energy that goes into it. So it's of course going to vary a lot by artist.
And it's going to vary. It's also going to vary by style, design.
Yeah.
How much saturation you're getting done.
Right.
With piercing, you really, and I think the biggest thing, and we were kind of talking about this yesterday, is you don't really think about the healing part of it.
Yeah.
And you don't think about the fact that if you're even if you're stretching it out over like a short period of time, you're only going to get tattooed every couple weeks or every, once to get to that tattoo's gotten to the point where you can start working on. Well, that whole time, no swimming. You're constantly in some type of discomfort.
Your wardrobe.
Your wardrobe's affected. You've got to take all these precautions. With piercings, where you have healing times of 3 months to 6 months to a year, and you can only really heal out 3 at a time, if you're doing an ear project that involves like 7 or 8 piercings or 10 or 12 piercings, it's going to take an extremely long time for those piercings to not only get done, but healed. And you're going to have to take all those precautions the whole time. These are life-changing daily habits
affect your daily life. We've got products as far as bandaging and stuff that minimizes it a lot, but not everybody can tolerate that. Not everybody's skin is okay with that, and so it's going to come into I'm going on vacation in a couple weeks. Well, you might want to wait to either continue the project or start the project after that, and so you have a window of time where you're going to be able to care for that tattoo, because you're committing a lot of your time, a lot of your patience and tolerance as far as pain and time that it takes out of your normal life to sit there and receive it, but then all the time it's taking out of your normal life to heal, which can be 2 to 3 weeks for some people, depending on the project. So it's not going to be fast. We run into these people all the time that, hey, I just want a real quick sleeve, just like 3 hours. And they just have a very, very unrealistic view of what really goes into it, and that it's not a race. It's about the adventure, every tattoo I have, it's more about the ritual that leads up to getting the tattoo than it is the finished product. It's the interactions, it's the time, it's the moment. Sometimes it's what that tattoo means and what the journey was through my mind to even decide to get that design and where to get it and how I justified it to myself. All that stuff goes into it before that, and that's a commitment as well. So it's a big thing, and I think that's why tattoos are what they are. And why people are so passionate about them is because of the journey that started when they had the thought to get it, and the continuing journey, them wearing it and how it affects them and reminds them of what that tattoo means throughout their life. It can be, and at least to me, it's a way bigger deal, I think, than someone can realize before they get heavily tattooed.
Yeah, it's like a sacrifice that you're making, really, in like a lot of ways, just with time, effort, pain, money, thought, you name it. It's every little bit of a sacrifice here and there, and a lot of times I think maybe the younger folks kind of just see the end result and they're like, ooh, I want that. And they're not really taking in consideration all of the sacrifices.
That signifies dedication and consistency.
Yes.
If you see someone with a very large finished tattoo that took multiple sittings, they're a pretty reliable, consistent person.
Yes.
Because they had to commit to go and receive this punishment in some ways, in this uncomfortable situation, because they saw the finished product and they were willing to take that and met that commitment, even though all that was in the way of it. So, you can look at a tattooed person as, that's a negative because they're heavily tattooed. I see it completely different. When I see someone with beautiful work, a lot of beautiful work, man, the time that it took them to wait for that artist, let alone to find that artist, to go through what it took to get an appointment with that artist, shows that you are going to get what you want.
Yeah, it shows me positive traits, man.
Right.
Nothing but positive.
Yeah, so that's, so when you see someone with a lot of beautiful tattoos, you got to kind of ask yourself, is it important enough? Does it mean enough to me to commit to that, to go through what it's going to take to look, to have, to display that kind of tattooing? And, hey, not everybody is, few people are really. So, but just be real with yourself and understand that you have to draw the line where, okay, I'm willing to wait 6 months and, I'll spend a couple grand. Okay. That's not right or wrong. It might be realistic, it might not, but if that's your lines, well, are you committed to finding what's going to check all those boxes and then commit to going through and getting it finished, even though there's discomfort, financial and physical, and everything that goes along with it? So many young kids come in so flippantly about, I want to get a collar done in the back of my hands. It's like, oh boy. Yeah, it's a big commitment. And not to be taken lightly. And if you pick the right artist, they're going to do their absolute best because they are affecting your life and changing your appearance for the rest of your natural born life. And they take it seriously. I agree.
Very seriously.
It's a lot of variables to, like, time when you're thinking about how long it'll take for something. It depends on the composition of stuff.
Right.
I had a young lady, we did a complete underwater leg sleeve on her, Rachel, and we did roughly about 10 months. It took a whole year to get it over.
It was about a year, wasn't it?
Yeah, we missed a couple months here and there, but she generally came in almost every month, one whole day of tattooing from open to close once a month. And it took us about a year to finish it. There's no skin showing on that leg from her hip to her ankle. I had a gentleman, we started a bodysuit. It's going to be both sleeves, front, back, and ribs. And then he wants to move on to his legs. It's all optical illusion, sacred geometry. Everything on the bodysuit is. And when we were doing a consult, I was like, man, you're looking, close. When we do both sleeves, both ribs, the back, the front, you're looking around 1,000 hours or so. He was like, you can't do it in like 100? I was like, no, not even close. We have Rachel's leg has like 80 hours in it, and that's one leg sleeve.
And she's pretty thin. She's tall.
She's tall, but she's skinny.
But,
and this is a full-size guy, and you're doing your torso and your both sleeves, like,
Yeah.
100 hours might touch almost one sleeve.
I mean, if you could stretch your mind enough to picture filleting the skin off a human body so you
Yeah,
could lay it out flat, their
That's
whole
a
upper
lot.
body, and then take a needle and
Color it.
poke every single, I don't know, half a millimeter 3 times with a needle, how long it would take.
Yeah.
That's a
Be
long
there for a
time.
minute.
So he agreed to it. We sat down. We started his suit last week. And when he came in, I have a lot of it drawn out, just about all of it drawn out now. And I was showing it to him. He's like, "Man, it's so cool. It's so awesome." And like we stenciled the chest piece on, and we went on and stenciled the stomach part on so you could see how it looked. And we started tattooing, and we started with the chest so we could do one whole complete piece cohesively. And we started outlining, and he was like, about every 30, 40 minutes, he was like, "Can I take a break? Are we almost done with that part?" Like, I'm like, "No, Dan, we are not even close. Like, it's got line. The whole thing is nothing but lines, just lines before we start shading." And after it took all day to get it outlined, just the chest, but we got the whole chest outlined after about 6 hours. And he stood up, and he's looking in the mirror. He's like, "Man, it looks awesome. It was brutal. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Like, now I understand why it's going to take 1,000 hours to do all of it. Like, this is intense."
Yeah, just to draw that with a fine pen and a straight edge on something that cannot move would take you several
Well,
hours.
if you've ever watched anybody do the henna,
Yeah.
and how long that takes, that just is a very minute idea of how long it takes to do that large of an area. The other thing I don't think anybody that's new to tattooing really understands is when you're doing a sleeve or a section of the body, there are various different areas that have different sensations,
Absolutely.
different sensitivity, and your tolerance goes up and down throughout that whole process. So, you might be able to speed around that sternum and do great, but then you get over into the area on the side and everything else
You're not
around the
speeding through that
nipple,
sternum.
and it's not going to feel good.
That's a very good point. Like Jimmy was talking about a client that was getting in his own way, making these 4-hour appointments, but only, allowing Jimmy really to get about an hour, hour and a half of tattooing in each appointment, because getting up and adjusting and moving, which only slows the time that you're actually tattooing down, because there's no rhythm, there's no flow, you just keep stepping in the way.
Yeah.
And then gets a few appointments in and doesn't understand why it's not further along.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I can only do so much.
It's
man.
the way time works. It's linear. It goes from here to here, and I can't stop it, neither can you. Right. And you got to be sitting still in front of me for me to do my job. And that can affect,
so much.
Really a lot. Yeah, it really depends on you. So you asking me how long is it going to take? Well, do I have to chase you around the room the whole time?
Yeah, it depends.
Or do you come in, disappear, and the next thing I know, 8 hours has flown by, and we got half your arm done?
Right.
Yeah.
So
it can go either way.
It really does. And then on top of that, are you baked like over like a well done steak, and I'm gonna have to stand on the back of my machine to get some good saturation because you want full color, and it's gonna take a little longer? Or are you buttery smooth and I don't have to even think about it, and I just wipe it on and wipe it off, and we're just rocking? So many variables come into play when you're talking about how long does a sleeve take. Style, the person doing it, how often you're having your appointments, how long are your appointments. I mean, just so many things
affect it and
come into play.
Nerve endings change every 16th of an inch.
Yeah, maybe
maybe
this would help. Maybe they have a portfolio, of sleeves they've done, and you're wanting a very similar style from that artist, and they have a good idea what their sleeves, their freehand sleeves, maybe whatever style they do, roughly take. And they can confidently say, I've done 15, similar sleeves, and they're right around 15 to 20, 22 hours.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Most people can't, There are those very tuned kind of laser pointed artists that do a style, kind of do a tattoo, at least for some time, and can tell you exactly. A lot of us, we do everything all the time, and people are different, and sometimes you'll get done and go, damn, you ripped me off, I got so much done. And other times you're like, man, we worked hard, but it just it doesn't look like we got a lot of coverage done. So why? Man, there's that list.
Down to the variable.
And most tattoo artists, similar to us, when you're tattooing, I'm not watching the clock. I'm not I'm not counting minutes and hours. And I'm tattooing, and I'm thinking about giving you the best tattoo I can possibly give you, where you want it and how you want it. And I'm trying to entertain you and keep your mind off being hurt. I'm changing music. I'm singing,
paying attention
dancing,
to the trauma on the skin, looking at the sign.
I'm paying attention to the customer's reactions. If they're going green, if they're going to pass out, if they're having a horrible time or a good time, like all these factors are coming in. I don't have time to check the clock.
Yeah.
I don't.
Not about milking or
no. A lot of times I have customers go, "Hey man, do you mind if we take a break and pee?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, no problem." And I'll look up and like, we started at 1. It's like 5. Like we haven't stood up in 4 hours.
Like you've
sorry,
had our complete attention that whole time, and that's what it costs, I guess, to have this person concentrate on giving you what you want for as long as it takes. That's what it costs.
Yeah. And on top of that, you're going to be in the position that you're in. You guys are going to try to make it as comfortable as possible.
Absolutely.
That's part of it.
But that's not always how things have to be. The arm has to be moved and rotated. You have to have it in one uncomfortable situation, and you have to stay still. And the human body does not like sitting still.
Not at all.
Not especially when it wants to run from what's happening. It tires you out mentally and physically.
It does.
You will burn way more energy than you think sitting for a long tattoo appointment. Some people go home and they get ill. They'll vomit. They'll get dizzy.
Tattoo flu.
They're so depleted that they are physically kind of almost maybe a mild form of shock in a way. They're just so depleted. So that's part of the commitment as well.
The nervous system is getting all kinds of mixed signals because you're laying there sitting still while there's damage being done to your body.
That's a lot
and your body's like,
run.
What the hell, man? You ain't
run or kill it.
That's why people get that ill feeling,
or the shakes. It's really common for people to get just that. I'm depleted. I'm depleted. I've spent all my energy, and a lot of times we'll sit a 7-hour, 8-hour session and we won't eat.
Right.
It's very unhealthy. It's a bad idea. But that's a long list as well. And hey,
you get zoned in and
So all those things, add up and come into the final product of how happy you are with the results. The more realistic you are about the entire process and what's involved mentally, spiritually, or time, artistically, all these things, you have to decide what it means to you and how much time out of your life and what you're going to take out of the time and the other things you have to do to give to this project that you're going to do, understanding that you are involving another person who's on that journey with you and respecting their time as well, so you can, at the end, get the best result that you possibly can. It's really in that client's hands whether they get the best from their artist or not.
Contrary to most belief, when I'm working on your right arm, and you're getting your phone and drinking and doing all this with your left arm, you are not sitting still. It's connected, man.
I don't think maybe a lot of people have consciously just tried to relax each muscle in their body. Sometimes if I can't sleep, I'll lay there and I'll consciously just move down my body and relax each muscle, as it goes down, and I'll realize how much tension and how many muscles in places I'm holding for no reason. It's very easy to be unaware of your body. So I get it. When people, I'm not moving my arm, I'm moving everything else that's attached to it, but I'm somehow holding that completely rock solid. No, you're not.
We're all a little bit unmindful, I think, is the word for it, right? Like where you're not really super keen on exactly,
It's not quite as easy as it looks. What we're doing, throw us a bone. We know it's not, it's not easy. We've all done it, so that's why I say, hey, when you need a break, I know your ass is going to hurt.
Tell me.
You could try to convince me right now it's not. Within 7 hours, your ass is going to hurt.
Yep, and your tailbone's going to be sore, and your lower back's going to be sore.
We're as guilty of it as a customer. Like, I worked on a guy yesterday. We worked on his arm, finished it up, and then we did Serenity Prayer on his ribs. Well, I'm standing up so I can get to it better instead of sitting in my chair because I don't like reaching as far, to make it more comfortable in my head or whatever. And I'm turning around and I'm dipping, and then I'm turning around this way and I'm laying over, and, my whole torso is turned, and I'm tattooing him. And, by the time 2 hours go by and we finish, I go in Jack's room at the end of the night and I'm like,
looks like he got pushed down a flight of stairs.
Like, oh God, I can't move in that direction now. Like, what happened? Well, I stood up and turned around and leaned over and tattooed for 2 hours.
And that's because we're not being realistic and respecting that we're old.
Yeah.
And bending over, holding up all your upper body weight with muscles that you typically don't because you sit all the time.
And
so just standing, let alone holding your arms out, keeping these weird postures to pull certain lines and shadow certain areas, it just kicks your ass. And if you're smart, you would take breaks, let your body. So all these things,
contribute.
It's a lot that a lot of people deal with and fly through, not even thinking about it, of course. But that all though blends in and are things to understand that may be an issue or something that you're going to have to deal with in the process and to be ready for it. So again, you can not only finish, but have the best result and have the best interaction with your artist you can.
Yeah. Like you were saying, sometimes you don't realize you're holding that muscle.
Right.
When you stop tattooing, leaning over somebody and you go to stand up, you're like, oh God, I've been holding that muscle as tight as it can hold for like 2 hours. Oh, crap.
Well, yeah, you get into the tattoo, you're trying to do the best you can for them. And you put your body to the side for a minute, and piercing wise, I'm sure that goes too. You're kind of in the zone trying to do what you do.
Yeah, with piercing, it's more it's putting your doing the act. It's more about having your hands in different positions than maybe is natural, depending on what piercing it is. It's the stress of dealing with multiple people and multiple personalities. I think more so than
a lot more rapid than we would.
Yeah. With projects, it's more kind of intense, quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, that can. I think one of the things that I don't think anybody that's never been tattooed or pierced take into consideration or even consider, because I have to cover it all the time, is that area of your body is off limits. It is the forbidden zone for a while until that heals. And having, you don't really think about it, but having your entire arm that every time you touch a pillow, every time you touch a sheet, every time you touch a shirt, every time you touch the armrest hurts is something people aren't used to. With piercings, that can, are even worse because you're looking at 6 months in some cases or a year. And if you prolong that through multiple projects, like for example, if you're doing multiple frenum piercings, which we will only do in rows of 3. So you're doing 3, and it's going to take you at least 3 months to heal that out, and then you're doing 3, and then it's going to take you another 3 months. So that's 6 months of your life that's going to affect your sex life.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
And that's also going to affect whether or not you can swim, get in the hot tub, and keeping your clothing clean. And every time you touch it, it's not going to feel great for a long couple months or so. Yeah. So, I don't think people really consider how much it does change your life.
Yeah, I got my whole lower forearm done in 2 days in back-to-back sessions. And I was flying home after it was all done, and it was
uncomfortable.
I imagine... I never want to get run over by a truck, but if my arm was run over by a truck, that's about what it felt like. And you don't realize how often you do this until you can't. And I flew home on the plane, and I was in the middle seat with 2 armrest hogs. And what do? Where do I put my arm?
Nowhere.
On your head.
Yeah.
That's about That's about all
You're exactly right. I did this and this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keep off of it.
It's, and for some people, no big deal. They'll fly right through it. Other people, it'll mess you up.
Yeah.
It throws you off, and it's a price to pay. It's a thing you have to take care of. It's a liability now, for a while.
And when I was getting the heaviest period of time when I was getting tattooed was when I was getting tattooed by Sherry, and it was monthly. So I had to make an appointment every single month because she wouldn't let you do appointments for more than a month in advance. So you had to call up, and it was like getting concert tickets from a radio station because she was the only person in town. Then after I did all that, then I had to make sure I showed up to pay the deposit, and I had to show up to actually do the tattoo. But it created this situation where between my back and my sleeve, I don't think there was a period of time that I wasn't healing a tattoo for like 3 years. Then on top of that, when I started getting pierced and started piercing professionally and getting pierced, those were always healing. I think of how it affected my relationships, because there's like one particular relationship that extended a lot further than it should have because I couldn't take care of my back otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I need somebody to babysit
Somebody
my
put some
tattoo.
lotion on that thing for me.
And that can be a thing,
No, totally.
Yeah.
even with piercings, checking your ears, before the days of cell phones where everybody could take an instant photo, looking at your ear, you can't look at your ear. No matter what angle you do you can't really get a clear photo or a clear view of exactly what it looks like without a photo maybe, but
Help. You need help.
You need help.
Do you remember the client I had not long ago, and I tattooed both of her palms the same day?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, now what are you going to do?
like an hour, I was like, are you sure you? She's like, why do you keep asking? I'm like, it's the palms of your hands. You don't want to do one and then come back and do the other? No, I want to both the same day. I'm like, do you realize how much stuff you touch with your hands?
Do you
daily?
ever use your hands?
Doorknob,
Like, can you name 5 things
driving
you
the
use your
car.
hands for?
It was
in a day?
a
Drinking and
week,
eating.
and I'm sure it was
Anything.
Like,
a couple
come on.
weeks of being very close with their partner.
Well, so
Because there's one thing I could think of that you need a hand to do.
Yeah, her personal
Wiping.
partner.
And most people do it at least once a day.
so
You're talking about taking a shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tattooed both her palms, and when she came back for the touch-up and the checkup on them, they looked great, but she was like, can we touch one up at a time? I'm like, absolutely. You learned a lesson, didn't you? And she was like, once I left, soon as I got to the front door and then in my car, I realized exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You touch everything with your hands. I'm like, yes, you do. They're your hands.
What
That's
else
they
do you touch shit
That's
with?
what you do.
And you really need them.
Dude, she was like just a
I use
revelation.
mine
She was
all
like,
the
oh my
time.
God, that was horrible. I'm like, I told you, man.
I can't think of one day I didn't use at least one of my hands.
And the
ever.
other thing that it affected during that period of time is one time in my life when I had steady access to a hot tub.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I could
Then you
never
couldn't
use
it. Yeah.
Ever.
Mm-mm.
Because they either had a piercing healing or a tattoo.
I'll have clients that, will do a big leg piece, or will do an arm that not only was it big, but was very, it's a long time. And, the idea is to do chest panel into another sleeve and stuff. And, that will be, that part will be done. And I'll be like, hey, take some time to enjoy your tattoo. Just give yourself an opportunity to just enjoy not having to babysit a tattoo and enjoy what you have. You've earned it, shake it off for a minute and relax. I'm not going to beat you up.
Yeah.
I don't have to beat you up tomorrow,
Go swimming. Do something
Summer fun.
Yeah. I don't ever want to make tattooing feel like a burden or like it's you're suffering. There is supposed to be some level of enjoyment, fulfillment, pleasure, joy, something coming out of it. So I don't want to feel like a punishment to people.
Drudgery.
You enjoy your tattoo, man.
I grew up near the
I'd be like,
beach.
it's done. Take a victory lap, and then let's put our heads down and let's smash out your chest, because it is a commitment. And people that don't have the large coverage and have made these big commitments or set these long times, there's no way that they're going to really understand what it really meant and took for them to be able to receive a good quality, well thought out piece of art that covers a big section of their body. There's a lot to it. So.
I grew up near the beach, so it was just a common known thing. It was you get tattooed if you're a collector during the winter.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be in the sand. You don't want to be in the pools. You don't want to be in the ocean. You don't want to go surfing. You don't want to do anything to do with that beach.
Affects your lifestyle.
Once you've gotten tattooed, because it's horrible.
Yeah.
If it's fresh, it's
and you're just
horrible.
backing up. You're wasting time. So that that 6 hours you just sat, well, you just rewinded 2 of those hours.
Yep.
It's going to take 2 hours for your artist to repair what you screwed up. So you got to commit. You're going to be better off at the end, or you're just going to be spinning.
Nobody wants to go through an infection.
Nope. I had a buddy that did that, tattooed his foot, and that dummy went and jumped in a hot tub the next night.
Oh, those are.
We were like at a convention or something, and
it's a hotel one probably even.
Got tattooed. Oh yeah, huge foot piece.
Hepatitis.
And we're in a hotel, so it's got a hot tub and a swimming pool indoors. So he goes and gets in a swimming pool with these friends, and we get back home, and I'm like, let me see how your foot's doing, and it was almost like you had bleached it.
Yeah.
So much of it was gone. He's like, "What is it doing?" And I'm like, "Chlorine." It ate it, dude. It was fresh on top of the surface. It just ate it.
Chlorine
You ever-
is bleach.
You ever
Yes.
poked a hole in something with like liquid inside? What happened? It leaked out,
Leaked
right?
out, man.
Until what? You plugged the hole. Your
Yeah.
body wasn't done plugging that hole.
Nope.
The hole was open, and you like
Yeah.
flushed it
With
repeatedly with
Yeah.
chlorinated
With
water.
bleach.
I can't think of one reason why
would
that
have
would have lightened
dissipated.
up.
I don't know why that.
You know how that
I
takes
don't know.
grass stains out of your clothes? It takes ink out of your skin.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Totally,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, it can't get out as
It
easy
was
if
funny.
the hole is
He
closed.
did not enjoy the second round of that.
I bet he didn't. Bet he didn't. That and the other thing is that I think with sleeves maybe or bodysuits, trying to get them all done at once. I don't know if that's to me
Like
my
multiple
personal,
artists, you mean?
My personal journey with tattooing and piercing has always been okay. Well, this marks this part of my life, and this is this part of my journey, and this is this part of my journey, and this is so for me to do like an entire bodysuit in like 3 years. Seems like you're doing a lot.
Yeah, you're kind of missing
That's
the
pretty
point why
dedicated.
some people get tattooed. They miss
Yeah.
that storybook part of it, and but that's not what some people are trying to convey.
that.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
that's
I mean,
the
if
great
you were
thing about
doing-
tattoos is
yeah.
there's so many different things for so many different people, and there's so many reasons they get them. I mean, or why would so many people mark their bodies
Right.
forever?
Yeah,
Until
I
they
mean,
die. It's
and I really think it depends on I don't know. I guess maybe to me, I like if advice I would have is slow your roll a little bit.
yeah, it's
if that's
okay
your
to
thing, it's
think.
It's okay
and,
to take a break.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
and
There are examples like a traditional Japanese style bodysuit. Of course, it's all going to be like just one design,
Yep.
standard throughout it. So there's not really a lot of variation, but there is variation
yeah,
in what's in there.
Yeah, I tell people there's kind of two ideas when it comes to getting sleeved or getting large, covering large pieces of your body. There is the large format, a lot of times kind of oversized single idea. It tells one story. It's one tattoo that covers a limb or a section of your body.
They're my favorite.
And then there is your steamer trunk approach, which is your Axl Rose style of building a sleeve. You have a finished piece of art here, a finished piece of art here, a finished piece of art here, much like a steamer trunk when you would travel in the days. You would have a trunk with your belongings in it, and at the ports and where you went, a sticker would get stuck on it to tell the people where it went, and luggage, keep track of your luggage. And so you'd have all these places and reminders of what you did and where you went. So that's some people have that idea where, well, I don't want just one memory taking up half my body.
Right.
I want to build this as I go and create a story. Where other people are, I want to be art. I want this piece of art to flow, and I want it because only aesthetics.
Yeah.
I want to decorate my body much like I did my race car with the flames. It doesn't mean anything.
It's just
Oh,
what
man,
you
it
looks
goes past-
beautiful on
It
the
looks
car. I just want this part of my body to be beautiful. So those people will often have the single idea or emotion or feeling that's covering large swaths.
Yeah.
Where to the steamer trunk guy, what a waste.
Just
That's
collect
one tattoo that takes up a huge
Right.
chunk of all you got.
Yeah.
That's
that-
all you got.
And that's what I
Yeah.
often think about with that huge tribal stuff that people are getting in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Is like, wow, your whole back's gone.
Yeah.
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 For like 3 palm trees.
Yeah.
Which is, the
Which
steamer
is fine,
trunk
but
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
on it. And thank God there's both, because
Yeah.
both are a blast to do and a lot of fun. And
It can be mixed, and I think that
Oh, yeah.
works best when they're mixed.
yep.
yeah, you don't have to commit your whole body to one style,
Right. And if you have something that means the world to you, and it is that heart and soul tattoo, but it means that much that you want a whole leg to tell that story,
Cool.
well, that's not wrong either.
No.
You just get a little of both.
I used to call them drive-by tattoos,
Yeah.
You do like a Grim Reaper that runs from the shoulder to the elbow or whatever to the hand. It's like, when you drive by that dude when he's walking down the street, you're like, holy crap, did you see that big Grim Reaper on his arm? That
Yeah.
was cool, man.
Can see it from across the room
Oh,
and
yeah,
tell
man.
what it
Old
is.
school
Yep.
style,
Exactly. Well, any style.
40 feet
if
away.
it's,
You're supposed
if
to be
it's
able to
done,
know what it is.
you can tell what it is, exactly.
Yeah.
And the steamer trunk is awesome. It's equally awesome. But like you're saying, it's so many little things together. Until you get closer to them, You can't see what ports they've been to. They're like, oh, they've traveled a lot, but where have they been?
Yeah, how long did that sleeve take? About 24 years,
Yep.
25 years, you know?
Got this one in Australia, this one in Europe, this one, you know.
Art's never finished. It's only abandoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's finished. That's
Constant
the
work
hardest
of art.
thing about that any artist faces.
Oh yes,
is
point
when it's finished.
Yeah.
the ability
That's
to
the weirdest
stand back
feeling.
and go, it's
I'm done.
I think
Or
if
mic
you look
drop.
at any artist that produces art on even a semi level, they will have, if they've released 10 pieces of art, they have 10,000 pieces that are just as beautiful that in their heads are not done, and you will never see them.
Yep.
And in their minds, they will never be finished. But to most people that would look at it, they would think it is.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to an artist is being able to say it's done.
It's the most awkward feeling in the world for me when I'm done with something.
Yeah.
Number one, the piece is done. And I can always find little things I want to do.
Always.
You know what I mean? And you've had this journey with this person, like with Rachel.
Yeah.
It took us a year
It's like we're
for
really
her journey. So like, I got used to seeing her once a month and how's your cats? How's your sister? Blah, 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 you know?
It's like that moment they have to admit that the only reason they're hanging out with you is because you do tattoos. And you get like offended, You're like, you were just, I see what's going on here.
Well, no, but it's that little bit of like awkwardness because you're like, wow, this is really the end of this journey. Like, and a lot of times they're just like, well, I have another leg and an arm. I'll be back. I'm like, yes, sweet. But it's kind of awkward for a minute because you're like, damn, I'm not going to see you for a while.
Ever,
maybe. Period of time that, the two of us have been working in the same market. There are people we've lost along the way.
Oh, boy.
Either, moved away or just stopped coming in. You never know.
Yeah. And everybody.
That we had relationships with.
Some people get to where, at the end, they're like, yeah, I have no other plans to really ever get tattooed again. Bye.
I'll keep in touch. Yeah. Some of them keep in touch with social media or whatnot like that. But you develop a relationship with people. You spend so much time with them, man. It's like, I guess it's like I would equate a therapist.
Yeah, in a way.
You
it's
build
pretty intimate.
You get intimately relationship with these people. Like,
Yeah, it's not like a doctor appointment where you're going in for 30 minutes, too. It's like you're spending all day for, 10 times.
You spent 6 hours a day with me every month for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean close, like we're this close.
Yeah, physically, everything.
Mentally,
and if you don't think
emotionally,
that you're not going to dump some stuff from inside of your brain in that amount of time that would,
you're gonna.
So,
you get invested.
My appointments on average are like between 30 and 45 minutes. And it's amazing how much, we can talk about in that period.
Yeah, kind of connect. And
you got a quick talker.
Jesse was making fun last Thanksgiving. We were having everybody over the house for Thanksgiving, and like 5 or 6 of the people were people like I've done these big, huge tattoos on, for a long time, and they're over, and she's just like, there's a lot of faces I've seen from the tattoo shop at the house, and I'm like, well, I make a lot of friends with people I do big tattoos on. I can't help it, like
And I mean, how do you make friends with people at work? Why? Because you're with them for 6-8 hours a day, and you see them in their daily life. You hear about their life over months at a time.
Yep.
I hear about, oh, my grandma's sick. Oh, my grandma's doing better now.
Yep.
Oh, I got it.
I got married. I had kids.
It's hard to kind of completely shut the door on the business or the relationship, whatever you want to, whether it's friendship, the business, or both. It's hard to just put a period at the end of it when it's done, because you do create a friendship with them.
Yeah.
Because that's how you do it. Yeah. That's how humans become friends. Yeah. They spend time together and they share bits about their life and they find commonality and they go, you kind of get me more than a lot of people. Yeah. Let's hang out because I can be myself and not have to pretend for these assholes. Right. And so when you find those people, they're special people and you don't want it to, you don't want that to just go away just because you're not stabbing them in the arm anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And it might be one of the last few social activities that can be done online.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
You got to be in person to do it.
That and barbers.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could figure out a way to make speed dating, like getting a tattoo, where you had to like sit and spend time with people, you could probably develop better relationships.
That's why so many people have met on flights or buses.
That's how you do it.
That's how you.
It's the new bar. Yeah, if you're not meeting at a bar, where else are you gonna lock somebody into their chair for they can't run away?
Oh, cool. Sure. We're chatting back and forth online. Well, at any point I can get up and like not come back to the computer. And it's like, oh well.
Well, even better, just block you.
Yeah,
You
either
won't ever
one.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
a different world out there, you crazy kids.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
hard to block, somebody you see at the bar every weekend.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not changing my bar. This is my
Showing
bar.
up
You
every
go
3
to a
weeks
different
to
bar.
get tattooed. Like I can't just
Quit moving
block you
out.
or cancel you. You're
Yeah, quit moving outside of my hand. I see you.
Yeah.
trying to
You're
block you
blocked.
Trying to block you.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, I think
That's
that's pretty good. I guess what we learned here is, have that plan ahead of time.
Yeah.
Eat before you come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Bring
it's going to
snacks.
take a while.
It's going to take as long as it takes.
And we understand too that there's money and you have to have a certain amount, so they allow you to stay where you are and eat stuff. So don't come in thinking I'm going to be disrespected or the artist is going to be disrespected because you can't spend X amount. It is what it is, and I will try to do what I can to get you what you want in a way to where we're both happy.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's breaking up, the appointments, making them shorter, maybe going about the design in a different way to where it looks just as beautiful, but that style maybe is a little faster. Whatever it is, I mean, I want to give you what you want. It's just they want money from me too, so I have to take some from you so I can give it to them, and then
We just have to accommodate, man.
round and round we go.
It's a
But
vicious cycle.
yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if you need to take a break, take a break.
Tell
Boom.
us.
Your
Same
artist
thing
is
that
not
the
going to be
artist
mad
does.
at you.
And I do consider that when, at the end of the day, out of the time, if
Yeah, I take
some
it off.
appointments, maybe a break, 5 minutes, and you plow through and you are steaming the whole way. Other appointments are a little more relaxed and a little more flowing, and sometimes we'll get up for 5 minutes, but it turns out, it was 20 minutes because so-and-so's coming to bring me this. And so we just wait, and so at the end of the day, I do take that into consideration, but don't expect your artist to take that into consideration. But if that's going to be important to you down the line, find out first.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, whether talking to people that have been tattooed by this person or just asking them, how do you handle breaks? And just talk to them about it when at the consult.
Yeah.
And also talk to them about how if you want to take a break off for 3 months in the summer and, do your thing, how that's going to affect it and how long of one you can take off. Because I know with certain work, if you leave it long enough, you're just going to have to rework everything that was already done.
Or they'll want to leave the piece at a different spot, knowing that there's going to be a break because they want to pick up at a certain spot because of either blending or stenciling purposes later down the line or whatever it is. So yeah, just being upfront and planning things out a little bit down the line will definitely make things go smoother. And like I said, your artist is going to appreciate it.
Yep.
There's very few artists out there that will blame you for your life.
No.
I got one too. There are days I can't come in, and then I got to shit on this person who's been waiting X amount of months to come in, and they're excited about it because I'm excited when I have a tattoo appointment. It's all you think about. It's like Christmas, and I want them to be as understanding as they can and know that, trust me, I'd rather be tattooing you right now. And I try to remember that. I put the same respect on you. Hey, I know you'd rather be getting tattooed right now.
It really,
but your kid's sick, man.
It's hard when we
yeah.
have to make that call,
Right.
If we miss a day, it's like
It's
I'd
not
rather
lightly.
I'd rather be tattooing than anything that's making me miss a day of work.
Yeah, and trust me, you wouldn't want me. I mean, you would be paying me and not getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
I can't do what I do right now, and that's the only reason I'm not there.
If I don't feel 100%.
So it happens, and it happens on the the other side too, and
totally.
just be open and honest. I get it, if you're on a fixed thing or every paycheck or once I don't care what it is. I just want to tattoo you.
Yeah, man. Just tell us what it is, and we'll
Just
work
get in
with
here,
it.
damn it.
Yeah, so
Have
go
a heart
away.
beating
It's
and a warm
really
body.
pretty outside. Why are you watching this, dummy?
All right. We're getting the hurry up thing from Jesse.
The
now.
wrap it up, the light.
Wrap it up.
All
All
right,
right.
bye.
Well, till next time, here's hoping that your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, we'd all hope to see you for your tattooing and body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys. Be good.